Alright guys, giving you guys an update on my wax dish here. A lot of it's going clear and melting, so that's good, and this one's starting to melt again. I should actually take, when this one liquefies, I'm going to grab the remaining tea candles, put them in there because I don't have too many options for wicks left, whereas this one has a ton, so I can put some more wicks in here and go from there. Give you guys a quick solar update too. Just to show you guys outside, it's overcast, and what's the temp back here? 37 Fahrenheit, 34 Fahrenheit. Turn this light on. So my fireplace is fluctuating, bringing in a little bit of solar. This guy's running my 12-volt fan and the light in the storage room, and it's not even putting a dent in it. I love it. Solar is awesome, guys, especially if you're using a lot of 12-volt. That is awesome. Like when you guys consider going off the grid, if you are watching me for that, try to do as much stuff as possible in 12-volt, especially the small stuff. Because the lighting, the fans, that's key. You know, you don't want stuff running off inverters. Inverters, especially on 12-volt, will suck a lot of power, unfortunately. But during the day, you really don't have to worry about that. It's at nighttime you do, when you don't have, you know, the sun outside giving you power back. But we'll get there. So that's a little update for that. What I'm going to do is, for my soldering deal, I'm going to take these copper things out of the package, and I'm going to wire them to, I have that little, basically it's a sharpening stone, and I'm going to wire these guys to the sharpening stone. Maybe just one for now, with some wire, and that way when I use the soldering iron, I can just dab it onto these things, and the stone is heavy enough that'll, you know, even if you touch the stone, it ain't gonna hurt anything, but it's gonna hold this copper in place firmly, and then I'm good to go. So I'm gonna start working on that. Alrighty guys, we're gonna try to turn my sharpening stone here and turn it into a base where I can easily clean my soldering iron. Well, that's the point anyway. And I'm going to try to run some wire through here. Yeah, one would be just fine for this, I think. So, cut some wire. And basically, I'm going to run a strip of wire down through the little copper mesh here. I couldn't believe they actually had real copper at the Dollar Tree, because of the price of copper is outrageous. So what I want to do is basically pull the wire down. Oh, without snagging on the copper itself. There. Try to pull it tight. Even if I spread it out, that's just fine. Need a little bit more on this side. Actually, that's fine, because when I wrap this wire around the base, cement base here, I can just twist tie this thing and really get in there with the needle nose to twist this thing in place. Now that's not moving anywhere, and that's a nice little base where I can just dab in my soldering iron, and if I spread these out a little bit more, that's going to work just fine. Because apparently, well, from what Stu told me, he's trying to get me into soldering, which is kind of a skill I need for making better connections for the off-grid in the future, though so far so good, right? The soldering iron, when you're soldering, you'll get you're touching a hot piece of metal onto something that's a thin piece of metal, which will melt easily, which is called your solder. And the tip of the hot iron that you use to melt the solder, some will get dirty apparently from maybe splashback or whatever in the process. So what you do when it's still warm is you dab it into this, you press it into this copper, and the grit of the copper will actually pull the crap off and stick it into the copper here. So it's cleaning your head when you do it. So this is kind of a nice little setup, and it's all stuff I had except for the copper pads, obviously, because I got 3 for $1.25 at my local Dollar Tree, so that's pretty good. And it's actual copper, and it's not light copper; it's heavy duty. They did a good job, so that's gonna work out just fine. So that's another project done right off the bat. So that's gonna be cool, guys. So you'll be seeing that in the future when I begin my practicing soldering and learning all that, so that'll be nice. And yeah, that's it for this one. See you on the next. Give you guys an update on the wax melting going on. I took one of the spares and threw it in the red dish, and I'm waiting for this side to liquefy before I put the other ones in. That way I have a wick on kind of over here and not all on this one side. And this one is getting there. Definitely. So it didn't quite fill it up as high as I thought it would, but this will turn white again once it's cools down and goes solid, and then obviously that's gonna just stay red, but whatever. And I have these guys waiting on standby. I already took the metal off. Whoops. I gotta put that back inside, but I ain't doing that one-handed. And it is now 48.2 Fahrenheit inside the tiny house at 62% humidity, so the humidity went down. It's 3 degrees Celsius inside the tiny house for the Europe, and it's 30.9 Fahrenheit outside. So that's a little update for you guys.